if you're struggling with the instrumentation or the glider and you're stressing yourself continuously, you're losing hundreds of points a day. And if your aircraft's not quite performing right, it's got bad seals, it's not well polished, it's not trimmed, you might be losing 50 points a day. So the focus needs to be on turning up with a good, reliable system, with an aircraft that's easy to fly, and doesn't stress you out, and is performing as good as it can. In the illustration side of things, well, the first one's pretty obvious. You actually have to enter a competition to win it. Don't be afraid to enter competition, people. The number of people that just don't even turn up, basically, have lost the competition already. You do need access to a glider, it needs to be ready. If it's in Paul's workshop still, you're going nowhere. So I'm really bad at this. I'm usually chasing Paul early January to get my glider sorted. Competitions are 2 weeks kind of thing. So if you get ahead of the game, make sure you're prepared. Your car's ready. Again, I'm usually chasing warrants and things on my ute, getting the trailer warranted, getting the insurance sorted out. So the first step is just to make sure you can actually turn up at a competition. The next step is to sort the paperwork out. I call that the TLAs. You've got to clear all your TLAs, your ARA, your BFR, your WOFs. They take a lot of time and effort to get sorted. Trying to get a glider trailer into VTNZ. I'm running out of places I can actually get a glider trailer into, let alone that are prepared to pass the damn thing.
Across the road.
It's a long drive. Yeah. So Wellington's getting pretty hard because obviously they're consolidating all their space, and now most of them you can't get inside the glider trailer.
Pretty good at the garage here.
Yeah, across the
Yeah,
road.
I've got to get it over here to do that.
The fellow next door to me does it, Paul Fleet.
Yeah.
He does it in my workshop,
Right.
in fact.
Yeah. So experienced guys
don't tell any transport.
all have their favourite place to take their glider trailer for a warrant.
We've got plenty of parking
everything
in
else.
front of the factory if you need.
Yeah, I'm sorted. I'm good.
Boxing Day.
The airspace files, task files, critical. You turn up with last year's task file, it's going to look almost exactly the same. Airspace or waypoint file, but like one of the 10 points that moved by one significant figure, and you've lost the flight for the entire day because you've gone around the wrong turn point. So it's critical that you have the right turn points, airspace loaded, and all competition directors will help you with this by releasing the file the day before the competition.
Rather unhelpful.
I used to run WinPilot, I was quite happy doing that, but the format of files it took was not compatible with where New Zealand was going as a standard file. And I used to take at least 2 weeks for me to manually redo all the files in the right format. And when the guy releases the file less than 2 weeks before the competition, it does not help. So make sure you've got the right files, the right format, and they're compatible with your device. And often they have mistakes in them and errors, so watch out for that. Read the rules. There might be some subtle variations or some secret ones, like don't taxi up the ramp at Matamata. It really upsets the competition director, apparently. So when you first go back, you go, I'll just park my glider over here, and then 10 seconds later, there's 200 people shouting at you and threatening to take points off you, and it's not even in the rules. So know your rules, especially start zones, finish lines, where they are, what the circuit direction is. The last thing you want to do is get yourself penalised penalty points. After all that hard flying, somebody comes along and takes 200 points off you for landing in the wrong place. It doesn't hold. Airfield layout. Be very familiar with the procedures, layout the airfield. If you can get there a week before or fly there the season before, absolutely critical, because when you're coming back to the airfield after a 4-hour flight, your hair's on fire, you're absolutely knackered, you've no idea what you're doing, and somehow you've got to slot into a circuit pattern and land in the right place on an airfield you've never seen before. Certainly some airfields I've taken off from but I've never landed at, never got back to them or flown somewhere else, so it can be quite a workload in your own. So a little bit of preparation, and thermal etiquette as well. Don't kill yourself on the first day. So you're going to be flying with a lot of other aircraft. Make sure you know what the rules are, how you're going to handle your goggles, and just get yourself mentally prepared for being relaxed. Certainly pre-start. There is no race before the start. It's just a matter of trundling around, working on what the day's doing. Right, and right on the next section, reliability. These are things that I've seen people have go wrong badly in competitions. Loggers. Yeah, I've seen people heartbroken because their flight hasn't recorded or they can't download the logger or they've got half a flight. I always have two. I used to fly with two cameras. Never flown with two backgrounds, but they were just as bad. Yeah, having some sort of backup system for your logger. Now, New Zealand, they'll accept a PDA phone, you're running XC source and the phone. I find that's actually the file I put in usually because it's easy for me to put in. I've never had a problem with it. But I've also got my file. It's my backup logger at the moment. I used to run it Libelle. But yeah, so I'm always running two sources of information. It's got to be correctly programmed with details, and otherwise it will cause an awful lot of confusion. You might get away with it once on the first day if you're nice to the competition director. After that, you can start getting upset with you. And the number of pilots that turn up at competitions and start hassling you about, oh, can you help me download my logger, or can you program me logger, or can you install my test? Guys, the gate opens in an hour. We're launching in 2 minutes. Do you really want me to help you? Oh yeah. Be ready, practice it. It doesn't take much, just do it, go and do a flight, load it, download it. So a little bit of preparation there. But if you get that wrong, that's 1,000 points gone. So if you don't record your flight, it's a waste of time. And every competition results, you'll see a DNS at the beginning. Did not start, did not record, did not provide evidence that you started the flight even.
And if you're good at it, don't advertise it so that people don't harass you.
Yes. If you're a guru, you can hide. Turn up on the start, the grid, 2 minutes before launch, and don't speak to anybody. That's my favourite tactic.
Alternatively, it means you never have to buy a beer for the entire contest.
Oh, there is that. Yeah. So you got to time it right. So helping people in the evening is great because of the free beers. Helping them. How was I doing a bloody Libelle? Oh, it was Mike Strathern. There was try to redo a Libelle tail rudder because that too much flop in it on the grid. Half an hour before. It's like, guys, there's something wrong here. Tyres. I'm a bit personally I'm vulnerable to this at the moment because I've got the only tyre of my type in New Zealand. In fact, it's the only one I found on the planet at the moment. So I burst a tyre, I'm out of it. I usually have a couple of spares, and last competition I ended up giving my spare tail wheel to somebody who had a major problem.
Both main and tail wheel.
Yeah.
You've got to have both.
Yeah. And if you've got,
or the tail dolly.
one of the best tricks I've seen is if your tower dolly has the same wheel as your glider, if you blow your glider wheel, you can swap out your tail wheel in a few minutes.
Yeah.
You've got the whole wheel assembly ready to go. And I've got like until last week when I burst in and doing some maintenance on it, I had a whole tail wheel just ready to swap out, so it didn't cost me. Not suited to the manual.